Man, I really love doing this podcast, but sometimes it's a hassle in a good way. Like today, everybody's coming over here to do this episode. And, I had to spend a couple, 3 hours just trying to get this place clean so people could be here.
It's a lot of work since you live in such a giant house.
It's big and it's old.
It's big and it's old,
yeah.
And you have a lot of room that you really don't need.
Right. Sometimes I think it would just be cool to start over.
I might have a solution for you.
Oh, really?
Bob's Containers, based in Austin, Texas. They make turnkey container solutions, building both standardized and custom container homes. They also build commercial container solutions such as bars, restrooms, kitchens, and anything you can think of. So if you wanted to make like a pentagram shape container home.
Like a man cave.
Like a man cave. That too. They're easy ADUs, which is accessory dwelling units. They provide financing, which is huge in this economy.
Yeah, that's really very generous of them.
Permitting, as in they'll help you permit your home wherever it's located.
Which is insane because that is such a giant hassle.
They will go to bat for you.
That's great.
Custom solutions, such as the man cave, recording studio.
Right. If you can think it, they can probably build it.
Giant pentagram.
There, exactly.
Quick and easy nationwide delivery. That's insane.
That is insane.
So if you live anywhere in the continental USA, guess what?
Delivery.
They can deliver it. And they also provide off-site construction. So there's like no noisy BS while you're waiting for your home to be built.
So that's pretty cool. That means you can get your land ready.
Yeah.
And then whenever they're finished with it, they'll show up, install it, and then you're there. You're ready.
Yeah.
That's great.
They just give you a ring-a-ding and say, hey, we're on our way with your custom home.
Yeah.
They're built in Austin, Texas, so you know it's going to be the best. So check them out at bobscontainers.com or call at 833-265-3269.
Nice.
You know what? It's a no-brainer at Bob's Containers. Hey, babies.
Welcome to Truck Beers.
Welcome to Truck Beers. This is a cool one. Pretty stoked on this one. We wanted to do this before Halloween. This is the one we were talking about. We are with Mike and Travis, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yep. What's up, guys?
Hello, how are you?
What's up, man?
And y'all are ghost hunters.
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Fuck yeah. I'm so excited, dude.
Thanks to Bob's Containers for that ad read.
Yeah, thanks Bob's Containers.
Thanks, Bob.
You're the goat. So y'all are based around in East Texas, correct?
I live here in Comer.
Yeah?
Same.
And we have some recordings. We'll play those later.
Yes.
So, like, what got you into this?
Starting with me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a long story. I've been doing this a while. I seen the first ghost in my aunt's hallway. She lived in a Victorian home in Florence, Mississippi. I was about 9 or 10, so this is 1988 or 89.
Cool.
From that moment on, it was something that I didn't really tell anybody. From that moment on, I'd never seen anything like that in my life, and I seen it that night. It turns out, I don't know if you guys want the whole story or not.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay, so here comes the whole story. So my dad worked construction for shutdowns for chemical plants, and we moved about every 7 or 8 months. So long story short, I went to 15 different schools from kindergarten to graduating.
Right.
It's almost as bad as being a military brat.
Yeah, it's bad. So states I've lived in are Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, pretty much the southern United States.
Just everything south of the Mason-Dixie line.
Yeah, Mom hates cold. That's all that was about.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I dig that.
So So in the process, we lived in Savannah, Georgia. The job ended there, and he had two choices: either North Dakota or Baytown, Texas. Like I said, Mom hates cold, so Baytown, Texas, we go. What generally happens is that Mom will get newspapers and whatnot and try to sort out a rent house and whatnot before the move happens, because there's a fair warning. That just didn't work. So she said, well, we got to go. So her older sister, lives in Florence, Mississippi, about halfway. So her idea was ask her sister to drop us kids off so she ain't going to deal with our heathen asses while she goes down to Baytown and find some place to stay.
Yeah.
So we go there. Now, my aunt, God bless her, she's very serious, what you want to call the holy rolling Pentecostal type, speaking tongues and falling on the floor. It's real fun.
Dope.
Oh, yeah, we went to the church. It was a riot. And, these guys are having fun.
As a child, too, that's just got to be
It
the
was-
wildest thing ever.
Well, like seeing
something
grown
else.
people and they're like just making up words. Screaming.
This is why you don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the good news for me is me and my older brother is that we're about the way we are now then. We just, I don't know if we lack of growing up or just got more mature in our stupidity. I don't know which one it is. But so when we went to church, it was like, shit, this is cool. You know what I mean? It didn't really scare us that bad.
Right.
But she lived in an old Victorian house right in the middle of Florence. And she tried to split up the house, and we ended up being a bedroom with the boys in one and the girls in the other. And so it's me, my brother, and my cousin sharing a room. And that house was situated in a way in which everything was down a single hallway. So in our room was on this end of the hallway, or by the front door, and it had one bathroom in it, which the house wasn't built with a bathroom. There was a closet that was under the staircase at the end of the hallway, and they put a bathroom into that.
The water closet.
Yeah, it's the piss hole closet now. So, and unfortunately for me, when I was a kid, I had this little tiny bladder, so I got up 2 or 3 times a night to take a piss. Well, this particular night, I get up, go down the long. I called it the Stephen King hallway because it seemed huge.
Yeah.
And as I turned the corner out of the room, there's this dude standing in front of the door to the bathroom, staring at me. And you're half asleep and you got to pee, and you stare like, what? And then the fear sets in because you can see the door through him. So he was translucent in a way.
Oh, shit.
And he had some kind of uniform on. As I become an adult, reflecting back on, I realize it's a Civil War Confederate soldier officer because he had a sword and some badgings on the uniform and whatnot. And he's just standing there staring at me. And as I checked him out, kneecap down, not there. Or I didn't see it.
Right.
And he stares at me, gives me this weird-ass fucking look, and sticks his hand up like to reach out for me and starts walking at me.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big nope.
Nope.
What was strange about it, when he started walking, I could hear the boots on the hardwood. Doom, doom. But I can't see his feet. So, fuck that.
Right.
So, forget about peeing. Right back into the room.
Well, I would have peed right there.
Yeah, they would have been on the floor.
Yeah.
So there were 2 beds in the room. Since I'm the youngest, I had the mattress on the floor between the 2 beds, and I just right in the first base under that mattress.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me. And then I don't know why I did this, dude, but so you turn around, you look at the hallway, and then it occurs to me, I didn't shut the bedroom door, and somehow or another, as a kid, you're like, since I didn't shut the door, he can now get me. So I'm just staring at that door, like ready to die, and his boot prints come all the way down to the door, like to that threshold of the wall where the door would be, and it just stopped.
Yeah.
And then turned, took 2 or 3 steps, and then stopped. So Mike pisses out the window. He goes back to bed. So that's kind of how that went. I tried to wake my brother up, and he was like, go to sleep.
There wouldn't have been anything left in my body.
No, it was straight out the window. I just rolled the window up, out it went back to sleep. The weird part about this is here's where things get kind of strange for me.
Oh, this is where it gets strange?
Yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
Then life kind of, when I say strange, from my life point, this is kind of like I hate to sound like religious or anything about this crap, but it's kind of like a weird sort of reborn. Never seen a ghost before in my life, and haven't stopped seeing them since.
Huh.
Use the word medium, sensitive, see dead people, whatever. That's me. I can sense things when I walk in a room, and it just from that night on has been that way.
See, that was one of my questions I was going to ask later. You do have like a feeling or
Yeah, a 6th sense, 7th sense, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
I don't like putting a label to it because, I've done all this research and they say, well, there's people that can auditory hear things and there's different mediums that can see stuff. They're in control of it. Sometimes I hear them, sometimes I see them, sometimes it's flashcards. Generally, if a house is haunted, and this is after from 8 to I'm 45 now, so this much practice of if there's something darker, more malevolent, or more strong, I can walk in a room and I know which room it's in. I can just look at that room and know it's in it.
Huh.
So there's this weird thing of knowing stuff that I can't prove unless you start testing it.
Yeah.
And there's just so much. There's so many places we've been, so many investigations we've conducted, so many strange things that prove all this to me.
Right.
It's just something in my life I just had to accept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is just the way you are.
Well, what else are you going to do?
Padded room.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I mean?
guess.
Yeah, because that's the big deal. Because I really thought after that night that something went wrong with me. And all the way until I was like 14 or 15 years old, I legit thought I was crazy.
Right.
Because I see shit all the time nobody else sees. I hear things nobody else responds to. So you walk around and the weird part about this is I like to think I'm a pretty smart dude. But, you walk around, this stuff happens and nobody does anything about it. And then you start looking up things, and as you get older, you learn about life and whatnot. And people have psychosis or psychological mental health issues.
Right.
And you go, man, they're locking those people up in like padded rooms and vests and shit. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do. This stuff's going to happen, and I'm just not going to say nothing to nobody about it. That's not possible,
Right.
because it leads up to about 15 years old, and I'm at school, and there's this dude from me that I know. I'm not friends per se, but we're friendly. You know what I mean? I know
Right.
this dude. And he's standing there, and we're in this circle of people talking, and there is this woman standing behind him that's translucent, and she keeps talking to me the whole time.
And you can hear it like it's audible to you?
It's in my head.
In your head.
It's
okay.
in my head. And she is very persistent. Tell him it's okay. Tell him it's okay. It's annoying. She just won't stop. Like the 3-year-old is, hey daddy, hey daddy, hey daddy. It's kind of that way. Except for it's a grown ass dead person doing it, you know what I mean? And she's like, tell him it's okay. The necklace is fine. It's okay. He can have it. It's fine. And I'm trying to ignore that because, padded room shit. And so I'm just like,
Especially as a
Okay.
15-year-old kid. 'cause
And that's
like,
a
yeah.
fucking risk to take if you're like, hey, the necklace is fine.
Exactly.
And he's like, what the fuck
but
are
it
you
was
talking
so
about?
annoying, and I finally just said, I'm not even really sure if I give a shit what this person thinks, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So my don't give a damn kicks in, and I go, hey, dude, I gotta say something to you. What's that? You got some old woman that died recently? And he's like, my grandma, what are you asking about that shit for? Something about a necklace, man. Is it okay for you to have a necklace? And he gives me this, I'm about to whip your ass look, right? You know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm like, oh, no. Because for him, it's like, what the hell? For me, it's like, oh, shit, this is real. That's what occurred to me, just
Yeah.
in that epiphany of,
Yeah, it locked in.
I know shit that I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I mean?
wild.
Good.
And I'm like, okay, what's the deal? He goes, bro, you talking about this shit? And pulls this necklace up. I'm like, I don't know what necklace. You know what I mean? He goes, dude, what? You got to tell me what you're talking about. Look, man, there's this woman standing behind you. It's an older woman, and she's telling me that it's okay for you to have the necklace. And this dude just bust off in tears.
Fucking
Wow.
Just to
A.
meet the pow. And I'm like, and if I'm being completely honest, now it's worse for me because I'm like, oh, fuck. Because it's okay to be crazy, right?
Right.
I don't know if it's okay to be right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if what
Which
I
one's
just
easier?
ascertained.
Is it easier to just
Yeah,
be a
there's
lunatic
this
or
whole
what?
Spider-Man shit with, seen that in a movie once that said, with great power
comes
comes
great
great responsibility. And you're like, fuck, what'd I do with this? Because it's all that real epiphany that goes off in your head of, it was easier to be the way I was before for
Exactly.
me.
Yeah.
Because now I have this, my whole life has been this way. If I don't know something and it interests me, then I need to know what it is. And I'll chase it.
Right.
You know what I mean? This. So, and then he explains to me that he bust off in tears and he says, my grandma died, dude, and she's been sick for a bit. And he's all crying and shit. And he just like takes a second and he goes, she's been sick for a bit and I've been a dick to her. like
Yeah.
a major asshole to her. And then she
wow.
dies, and I realize, oh shit, I shouldn't have been like that.
Right.
And then they give me this necklace. Like, here's this necklace. It was your grandmother. She wanted you to have it. And I've been wearing it this whole time going, I don't deserve this.
Oh,
I
fuck.
don't deserve this. I was an asshole to her. I don't deserve this. I'm going to wear it because she gave it to me, and maybe someday I'll make amends of it. And me saying that to him cleared his life up.
That's awesome. I mean, you probably, in a way, I don't want to say save that kid's life, but you definitely
don't-
put him at ease about something that he was obviously struggling with.
I obviously changed his life in that moment somehow.
Right.
That was probably a big key moment for that dude. Because he would have probably went his whole life thinking like the thing hanging on my, it's a burden. Like it's an
It was
anchor,
a
not a
huge
necklace.
burden,
Yeah.
and it seemed to lift him off of it. And then the problem with this is, though, then now he wants to be my friend, right? And which is fine,
Fuck yeah, he does.
except for my problem is that I have limitations to this, like reading people, like the people with the psychic ball and tell you about what you like. I can't do that. I don't do living people, and I suck at it entirely.
Yeah.
It's only the dead ones, and it's when they decide to speak to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think I've created that environment for them. I feel
So
like
they're like, they only come to you. You can't just be like, hey, can y'all come here?
sometimes
Sometimes you can.
Sometimes I can.
Don't do that now. I'm just saying.
Sometimes I can.
I'm just saying, like, man, that's
I don't look people in the eyes very long. You'll probably notice that the more I sit here, I don't do that
yeah.
because I start to learn things about you I don't want to know.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing that that happens to me that I don't ask for.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to put a pizzazz on or anything, but this would answer the reason why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Right? Why I have this pursuit for the paranormal. It's a life calling for me to understand
Yeah, it has.
what in
Yeah.
the world am I,
Right.
and why. And they know, so I'm gonna hunt the shit out of them. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Like what you said before, it happened to you at such a young age, and it kind of stuck with you. A lot of the other people that I've heard talk about similar things, I guess there's a running theory in the field of, once things happen to people, they're more perceptive, and some people, it sticks with them.
Well, like when the ball gets rolling downhill, there's
Yeah.
really no stopping it.
yeah.
You kind
And
of
some people can have an experience, and if they ignore it or whatever.
right.
I've said that plenty of times to people that are open skeptics. Like I've got a few friends of mine that are like, I kind of believe in that, and you do that stuff. Can you take me somewhere? And I always tell them, dude, be careful of the door you're knocking on, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? I said, because where you're at now with healthy skepticism, or at least an open-minded skepticism, is cool. But there's this moment when you do this long enough, if you come with me long enough and we go to the right place, there's going to be this, for lack of a better term, this aha moment where something's going to happen and you can't turn back from it.
Yeah.
You just can't. Because it allows you to know something that you can't unknow.
Right.
Like, I think it's just the whole thing. We go to the religious aspect. Not everybody, but a lot of people believe in God. But if God lands here in this living room and fucks us all up, things are different now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You know what I mean? God would be different, but it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Same concept.
Your world's different now.
What about you, Travis? I'd love to. I just got to know your Genesis
This
story.
dude's over here being quiet and stuff.
I'm just sitting here listening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyways, mine's not as cool as his, but I think going back when I was a kid, I grew up here in Gilmer. I lived over here off of Buffalo.
Okay. Yeah.
Big white house on the corner across from the high school.
Okay.
There used to be a hospital next to it.
Is that working? Good. Okay, so there used to be a hospital next to it. That's where I grew up in the house. The doctor owned that house. And really the only craziest thing I could think of paranormal would be Christmas Eve one year. I was asleep in my bed, facing my closet, heard some stuff on the roof. Oh, Santa Claus. Little kid, that's what I think, right? And then
That's fucked up.
yeah. So I'm sitting there asleep. It wakes me up, and I'm laying there in bed, and I feel something just sit down behind me. You could feel the bed go down behind you, and I'm sitting there as a little kid, just frozen.
Right.
I'm like, my parents are asleep, my brother's asleep. Who's sitting in the bed?
Yeah.
So I just freeze up. I get up the next morning, and there's shoe prints or like boot prints coming from my bedroom to the front door.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Never learned what it was.
Right.
So it was something. Something came.
Eat the cookies and drink the milk, bro.
No, that was still there. So something came. So, but I mean, that's the only thing I could say. Like, as a young kid, you're right. Fast forward to where we are now. You know, the reason I got into this is I don't know if you ever saw the show Ghost Lab
Yeah.
with the Brad and Barry Kling.
Yep.
So a couple years ago, they had a post on Facebook asking for things to check out around Texas because they're from San Antonio. So I mentioned to them the Kelly Wilson case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere.
Fucking Upshur County legend, dude.
So they reached back out, said that they've never heard of this. They're very interested in it. What can I do to help them get involved? So I dig up some information about this time. There's a podcast that came out called Deviltown.
It was really good.
It was. They
So
did a great
I
job.
sent that over to them, and they deep dived it a little bit and kind of hit me up. You know, hey, where's this at? You know, where's that at? So I drove around town getting some information for them. Then, on the anniversary of Kelly's disappearance last year, they came up. They met with me. We went down to the video store, and within 5 seconds of us being on the square, there was post up on Facebook. What are these guys doing? They're recording downtown. There's pictures of him, of me, Brad and Barry, videos of us downtown walking around. Cops driving by at the same time, watching us the entire time.
Huh.
It got crazy. So the next day we went out to Glenwood Acres. There's a lady that lives out there. She lives in the house of, what's that guy's name? Joe's parents' house.
Okay.
That's where they live. So they contacted me because they found out that we were going to be in town doing some stuff. Come to find out that they had the cops out there previously, a few months beforehand, looking around because there was suspicion that her body was buried there.
So I've heard a ton of. There was a family that lived out.
The Kerr family.
Yeah, the Kerr
out on
family.
Cherokee Trace.
Cherokee Trace. I grew up hearing that stuff.
I'm trying to remember Joe's
Yeah.
last name. Sorry.
Henry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we would drive down Cherokee Trace at midnight with the headlights off, trying to it was just
Yeah.
a thing to do as a teenager.
Yeah.
Spook the shit out of you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we go out there because, like I said, the cops came out there. And this is where it gets really interesting. So these guys took Kelly's picture and sent it off to some mediums and some psychics. And they had got clues like red dirt, red SUV,
What's Upshur County?
North Carolina, just all this different things, okay?
Okay.
Come to find out the people that live there now, they're from North Carolina.
Oh, cool.
They have a red SUV. They had a big red pile of red clay dirt.
This is going to get interesting in a minute.
So all these things that these psychics and mediums were telling them started hitting
Yeah.
about this family, about this location. So they're like, okay, maybe we're in the right spot, right? So we do a little investigation there. Didn't really come up with anything that night. Okay, so then we go down to NTV, do a little investigation there at Roos Place and at the
Yeah.
video store.
Yeah. Which is now a WIC office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do a little investigation there. They get a few little hits and stuff. So then they decided to, go back. Audio files, have to go back and listen to them. That takes time. Then they come back out, and we do another investigation out in Glenwood Acres.
Right.
At which point, we do get some audio that they have, that I've heard, and a couple other people have heard. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's not my responsibility, but they did get something on audio, and we're still looking into it. But fast forward a few months later, they came back out and they dug up the ground out there with a backhoe, and they brought a ground penetrating radar out,
Yeah.
but they didn't find anything.
Is that what they were digging until they hit concrete, and then they decided to stop digging for some reason?
No, so the cops
Okay.
came out there
Okay.
and dug
Where at?
and hit
Where
a
is this
concrete
at?
Glenwood Acres.
Okay.
They hit concrete and
They
then
hit a concrete pad,
And
which
stopped.
could have been a old storage building,
Foundation, yeah.
or something. But they had a cadaver dog.
That's what I was about to ask.
They
Did
had
they
two
ever?
cadaver dogs that did come out and hit on a tree. The first one hit, and then they brought another one out to recheck, and it hit again on the same tree.
Yeah.
But like we were told, a cadaver dog can pick up scents of a decaying body that's been out there for years.
Oh, it's insane what cadaver. Yeah.
So I mean,
Good.
you know, who knows
Right.
what's actually there?
Right.
You know, but when they came out, they didn't find anything. But as to my knowledge, we're still looking into it. They reach out to me every once in a while, and we kind of pick back up where we are. You know, it's Gilmer. Nobody really wants to talk, and if people do start talking, they get very paranoid.
Yeah, people get real scared about stuff like that.
It's. I mean, I grew up in Gilmer, Harmony area, and that's been just not an urban legend because it's true, but it's just been folklore. It's we've talked about it around campfires
Yeah.
and the Kerr family
Yeah.
and what they were into, things like
The
that.
satanic.
Yeah, that's all what
that
I've always
stuff,
heard,
yeah.
you know, and
I don't know if we talked about this, but I have a Kelly Wilson story from a ghost aspect that I didn't ask for.
Yeah.
This sounds silly, dude, but this has been like, I don't know, dude, 10 years ago maybe? Maybe longer, maybe shorter. I didn't look at the clock, you know what I mean? Me and the wife were at, of all things, McDonald's. And it's about 9 o'clock at night. We're at McDonald's eating a burger. And this ghost walks through the door behind me. And I just keep eating my burger, ignore it, because this type of thing happens from time to time.
yeah.
And the spirit stops behind me. And they will do this from time to time when they know that I know that we know.
Do you
right?
acknowledge it, or you just kind of see if they come to
Most of the time I ignore it.
Right.
Most of the time I ignore it. I know it, I ignore it. But when I say what I just said is that sometimes it's like they know that I know they're there. And
Yeah.
they'll stop.
you? Yeah.
Most of the time, 8 out of 10 times, I'm like, shit. Because I'm trying to eat a burger, man. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not here for paranormal stuff.
Just trying to live your life.
Right.
It's like you're a beacon.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And and I'm like, okay, who are you? And then it's a female voice responds back to me and says, my name's Kelly Wilson. Of course you stop because you're from here. You're like, what the and I'm like, okay, what's up? She goes, you need to know. Need to know what? What happened? No, I don't. You know, just like, no, I don't, because it's a huge story here.
Yeah.
And again, like I said to you before, if there's something that I should know, I'm going to chase it. And I'm like, I don't know. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. And then she starts telling me this coded stuff, right? And these spirits will do this from time to time, like give you bits and pieces of information so you can work and fill in the blank.
That's fucking
why.
wild. I would
I
feel
don't
like
know
they'd be
why.
like, nah, dude, it was this guy.
And she said, this is weird. She said, the person that did this to me knows me. Okay. The person that did this also wears and shows me this flashy, shiny, like badge looking thing, right? As a picture. As in to tell me it's a cop. And then she tells me there's more than just him. There's a group of people. And then she tells me that I went in a red car somewhere, right? And then she points me toward Cherokee Trace. And then I ask her about the Kerr family, and she says, close. And it vanishes. So I tell my wife this stuff. She goes, we should go down Cherokee Trace. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Fuck.
Because I'm afraid
I
she's
just
gonna
want to go home.
I don't want her to resurface, because then we'll feel all responsible, and I'm going to want to talk to Gilmer PD. And then I was like, fine, we'll go down Cherokee Trace. So I go to Cherokee Trace, and she reappears. And I could get you back close to that spot where she reappeared. I kind of know where it is, because, again, I didn't really want to know.
Right.
And she starts giving me this inclination that she was killed here and taken somewhere else. Is what she kind of gives me an inclination of.
Yeah,
But she wouldn't fill in all the blanks.
See, the story that we were told is that she was
Pregnant, too.
well pregnant.
She
but
told me that.
Also, that she got brought back out to Glenwood,
She never said anything
and
about Glenwood.
that's where, because like the story that we heard was during the night, at the time Joe lived at his parents' house.
Right. Okay.
So the story goes that during the night he got woken up by a friend of his and said, "Hey, I need you to come help me." And then hours later, Joe comes back home, muddy, wet, covered, head to toe in dirt.
Didn't
He
know
was
that.
out doing something.
Wow.
And from what we gathered, and the story we were told, is that it was close to Joe's parents' house.
Hmm.
So, I mean, theoretically, she could have been killed. Cherokee Trace, transported.
She gave me the overwhelming understanding that she had become pregnant, and she gave me the overwhelming understanding that she was supposed to be quiet about it, and she had decided not to be. And that's why they did what they did to her.
Again, this goes back. Like I said, when we were on the square, the cops were watching us. They don't want you to know.
Yeah, I mean, that's so. If you bring this to their attention, cops, like, of course, you've probably came to them and be like, "Hey, I have visions. I see things. I've heard things." How are you received with that?
I've never went to the cops.
You've never? Okay, cool.
I know.
Never done that.
We interviewed
Well, fuck the police.
a lieutenant. We interviewed a Gilmer lieutenant. And, we kind of talked to him, told him what we were doing.
Right.
And he was very, very short and brief on his answers
Right.
that he would give us.
And
I don't understand what the secrecy is. You'd think they'd be all about it.
if that's your line of work and someone's this is an unsolved case in
It's 30
Gilmer.
plus years old. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
like
92, right?
Yeah,
Is
so
that
I'm
right?
I'm a transplant to Gilmer. I grew up in Longview, but I had heard about it, but I didn't really know about it
Yeah.
until we moved here, and then that was only
Well,
8 years ago.
like I said, as a kid, it's been talked about as like campfire tales. Like, hey, don't be walking around downtown Gilmer at night, kind of thing.
I will say this is on a podcast, and so piss on it, I'm going to say it. I've never said it out loud. I think I've said it to my wife once or twice. I used to love to go to Joe's place and eat Joe's hamburgers because they were good.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's never felt right to me. Never has. And I'm that dog that doesn't like people for no reason. Like, there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you give me funky vibes. And I didn't know anything about Joe's criminal record or anything like that. 'Cause
Right.
he's got a pretty good one. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but some pedo stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Sweet.
Yeah.
What
And
a real piece of shit.
Yeah,
pretty much.
super
yeah,
great guy.
Pretty much. And that's the thing about it is that somebody told me once when, we need to go down to Joe's Burgers. And I knew the place existed there for years.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was an old school place. And I'm like, I don't know why I've never been there. You know what I mean?
No.
And I've been in Gilmer since 96. Yeah, 95 or 96. I've been there a long ass time. And I just had never been. I'd been here probably 7 or 8 years and never walked in the place. And I'm like, let's just go over there and get a burger, and they're really good. Well, my fat ass, they're really good burgers. Cool, let's go get one. And so I go over there and eat this burger. And the whole time, there was a lady that was there that was cooking the burger, and she was fantastic. Well, Joe walked in the door, and I didn't know who he was, right? He walked in the door, and there's that vibe.
Yeah.
This little bell goes off, and I'm like, it just gives a squint eye, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't remember who I was sitting with. Oh, it was a friend of mine was sitting with, and I was like, what's up with that dude? I was like, dude, that's Joe Henry. I'm like, who's Joe Henry? He's like, you never heard Joe Henry's name? And I start thinking, I've heard that name before. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Burger place, I guess? No, he owned the video store. What
Yeah.
video store? The NTV over here. We lived here when I was a kid back in 86 and 87.
Yeah.
We lived off of Bluebird Road over there. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember the video store. We used to go there every now and then and get videos. He's like, yeah, he was the manager of the place. That's where Kelly Wilson disappeared.
Fucking, yeah.
And then it was like instantaneously turned and looked at this dude. Like I knew he had something to do with it. You know what I mean? And I just shut up. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to let that be. You know what I mean? And then I know some people that are friends. I'm not going to say their names, but I know some people that are friends with Joe, right? And have known the man his entire life.
Right.
And they all have this fake sort of Joe's a sweet guy kind of deal, but you can tell they're lying to me.
Oh, that's Upshur County, though.
You know
Like,
what I mean? You can tell they're lying to me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
that's fucking pretty normal for Upshur
And
County.
then I run into him one day somewhere with someone that knew him, right?
Right.
And they're like, hey, Joe, what's up? And the more he talked, the more it was almost like the more I wanted to get away from him. You know what I mean? So So when you add this Kelly Wilson bit in it, and I can't sit here without any shadow of a doubt and have any sort of proof about he has something to do with it.
Right.
But when somebody does prove it, I'm gonna go, yep.
So what's
You know
your
what I mean?
like? What's your
Well, even if you like, even if he didn't directly do it,
He
he's
knows.
got that darkness with him.
He
He
knows.
knows what's going on.
so
Either
what's,
knows or involved. It's one of
Right.
the two.
if you had to put a grade on your accuracy with things, like I'm not doubting anything. I would like to know.
No, just blunt honest. Sometimes way off.
Right.
Sometimes spooky, stupid, accurate.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just. I don't know if it's mood level with me, and I know that has a lot to do with it. Sometimes it's mood.
Well,
like if I really don't wanna, no.
Right.
If I'm really in the moment and the spirits are around and things are happening, and I just start involuntarily talking, it's pretty wild.
Kind of like if you're like not going into autopilot,
Total autopilot.
but yeah, like a flow state. You're just there and you're listening and you're getting information.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought like it's
like there's these involuntary things, like there's something to do that way in this house that I've been. I don't know if you've been noticing, I keep looking that way.
in this house.
Thanks.
Something. I want to go that way so
Matt's
bad.
not going to sleep good tonight.
So I don't even know what the hell's that way. I don't even know if there's even another room
There's
or
two-
even this house.
There's 2 rooms that way.
But there's something up.
So okay, we've talked.
The
An old
people,
woman, 70s
Yeah.
or 80s. She had like flowers in her room. There's a nightstand with this weird little lamp. It gets stupid, dude.
Great.
So
I was purposely avoiding asking you this question.
I want.
It's funny because I'm like the 5th or 6th owner of the house that I know of.
you don't smell the perfume every now and then for no reason?
No,
You
man,
don't?
my sense of smell's all jacked up.
Okay, that's good for you.
But the people that owned it 2 ownerships ago, I guess,
Like wild lilac. I don't.
was a family that's pretty well known in town, and the dad told me some stories about when they were renovating the house that they were having all kinds of weird, kooky stuff happen, and he was like,
They
"You
came
ever?"
with a woman?
He never
He's
said.
got woman right now.
Yeah.
He just said they're kooky shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
But he was like, "Do you ever? Is there anything ever happened to you since you moved in?" I was like, "No, not really. I mean, I get uneasy feelings every once in a while." But
Do not ever investigate this house. You
10-4.
can never turn back if you do.
I won't.
And that's a promise.
That's something I always tell people. If you live in a haunted house, never investigate it yourself. Because now you know they know that you know. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they'll start messing with you.
I'm gonna come live in your trailer with you.
Cool.
Can I come move into your camper?
That camper's 4 years old, dude. I ain't worried about shit.
Where's the camper sitting, bro?
Yeah.
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 I'm not. I.
So you've mentioned your wife a few times. What does she think about all
Yeah, that's a good question.
So
that?
there's
Obviously,
a story.
she's supportive because she's your wife.
There's a story. Here comes the fun I'm a dick story.
Well, you just
So
told
this
me my
is-
house was haunted, so it can't get a lot worse.
Yeah, it can, I guess. But so this is her story, and she was doing stuff, and I said, "Hey, you want to come?" She's like, "I'm not going on a podcast." She's stage fright, and which is fine. Me and her have a paranormal story there's tons of them, but so we were friends for a long time. But we kept running into each other in weird places. She'd move off, and then we'd run each other at a gas station or over here or over there or over there. And that kind of led us get together like, we can't get away from each other. There's something in the universe.
Might as well just
that
see what
keeps
happens.
slamming you in my face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we got together, dated for 3 or 4 months, got married 24 years ago.
Nice.
How that worked, I don't know. But we talk about this meant to be stuff, and apparently it's true. Well, I didn't play the whole I see dead people on her till after we were married,
It's smart.
right? It wasn't on purpose. I just didn't think about it. You know what I mean? It was like, I guess I should tell her this shit. You know what I mean? And so she has an uncle that she's very, very well connected to. Like, she has some deep feelings about her uncle. He died when she was about 2.5, 3.5 years old, something like that. And so her whole life has been chasing his story, right? And the reason why it's been difficult for her to chase his story is that he was a prominent member of the Banditos.
Oh,
And,
that's cool.
We later found possibly an enforcer for the Banditos and possibly did a lot of bad shit.
Yeah.
As in, they found things in his house that needed to be getting rid of before the cops see it stuff, right? So he was deep.
Yeah.
And, but she was interested in that. She was interested in the man, this is my uncle. And I've always felt this kingship toward him, even though he's been gone this whole time. And that's important what I'm finna take. So I tell her, we've been married a few months, and I don't know why I did this shit, but it's, oh well.
You already had it locked in. So
yeah, just stupid. And so I tell her, it's like, honey, there's something I need to tell you. What's that? I see dead people. She's like, oh. And facial-wise, she's like, oh, okay, honey, we can talk about that. Internally, she's like, I've married a crazy fucking person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it bothers her. So she says one night, she's just decide, we're going to find out. And we're just sitting there. She goes, hey, get in the truck. I'm like, okay. She don't tell me nothing. I don't know nothing about nothing, right? I'm just sitting at the house, chilling. Get in the truck. Okay, where are we going? Just nowhere. Get in the damn truck. Like, she's adamant. I'm like, all right, well, shit. You know what I mean? So I go get in the truck, you know what I mean? And she takes me out to a graveyard. I'm like, what are we doing? And she goes, you sit inside this truck. Don't roll the window down. Don't open the door. Don't do nothing. I have your word. Yeah, dude, cool. And I'm like, she's finna murder my ass, dude. She's just stay in this truck. She's gonna go out and dig the hole.
She's already got a hole dug for me.
I'm like thinking the worst here, like, what in the hell is going on here? Right? And she gets out of the truck and starts just walking in these weird sorted patterns all around the cemetery. And I start thinking, I married a crazy person. What are we doing here? And while she's doing that, this dark figure appears in the truck beside me. And my mind goes, man, really? You know what I mean? Who are you and what do you want? And then this deeper voice comes out, and he says, my little princess. This is the exact look he got. Fuck. He goes, you need to say it. And it's not in my head. It's out loud in the truck, which is something very, very rare they do that still gives me the skin bumps.
Right.
When they speak out loud and I hear it in the room vocally, it gets a little real. Even though I see him, Nick gets really, because it's very rare and it's usually something very strong.
Right.
Which is usually scary.
Yeah.
And I say, what? You need to say it. To what? And then he gets really, forceful, lunges at me with this energy.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? He says, open the door and say it. And I'm like, okay. And it was almost like demon-like. It was bad, dude. So I open up the door and stand on the Nerf bar and look at her. I said, hey. And she's like, what? What does my little princess mean? Because I'm scared to shit. You know what I mean? And she goes, fuck you just say?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, no, man. You know what I mean? Shit. And I'm like, my little princess. She's like, and she just stops, stares at me for what was probably 2 seconds, seemed like 30. And she just starts walking toward the truck, and she gets in the truck, shuts the door. When she gets the truck, he disappeared. And I shut the door, and then I shut the door, and she goes, that's what my uncle called me when I was a kid.
Wow.
And I'm like,
And
okay, what does that mean?
And it
You know what I mean?
reassured her right then, though.
Yeah, that was his way. That was his way of going, you're going to say this or you're fucked, dude. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just didn't know it.
Fucking, I'll say 3 words if you just go away.
And then started the conversation from her. She goes, okay, so how does this work? Because she's now like, oh, okay, this is real. And how does this work? And then she was all about, let's go and, because I told her all my theories. I need to go out and test stuff. I need to do investigations. I need to go find all the dead people I can find to talk. Because it's the only way I'm going to figure out how this ticks is from experience, right?
Yeah.
Just go out and find them and talk to them. And we did that for 20 years. You know what I mean? So that's why when we started, I got here, I was like, dude, I got all kinds of stories because I've been all over the place. In a hunt for, effectively, is what is my life about? That's really this whole thing for me. It's not fun. It's life calling. So
That's reassuring. Like,
That's really cool.
I am skeptical. Like, I do.
cool. Yeah.
You know,
Everybody is skeptical, bro. I'm like, perfect. I get it.
right.
I totally understand it. But I don't at the same time. You follow what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't live in that world.
Yeah.
That's
I live in that world where I didn't get to be skeptical. You know what I mean? It said, here's some shit, dude.
so.
You know?
Is there anyone else in your family that has this
Yes.
gift?
100%. Yes.
Right.
Uh-huh. My granny, my dad's mom, you could call her, and she would answer the phone with your name.
Because that's a thing.
Like
Like,
caller ID when I was growing up, bro.
no, I know, but that's
no, not at all. Yeah.
Like,
And then I thought about it. One day I was like, I'm going to trump this old woman. The old woman was wise. She's also full-blood Choctaw, born on a reservation. And I was like, I'm going to mess with her. So our last visit, I knew that when caller IDs come out, y'all remember we had the little box that was connected to the phone?
Absolutely.
Right? She had that. But she had one, and it was in the kitchen. But she had two phones. There's one by her chair in the living room, and there's one in the kitchen.
mm-hmm.
And she would answer the phone, hey, Mikey, how are you? You know?
Yeah.
That's creepy. You know what I mean? Like, why'd she do that? And then one day I called her. And I made purposely to call her like once a month. It's my granny. You call and talk to her anyway.
Absolutely.
But I have an ulterior motive. And because I was curious about some of these
Trying to trip her
weird
up.
things she would do. Yeah, trip her up. So I called her up one day, and she picked the phone up. She goes, hello. She always called me Little Mikey or Michael, you know. And she'd answer the phone. Hey, Little Mikey, how are you? I was like, oh, I'm all right, Granny. How are you? She's like, good, good. So, well, what are you up to tonight? She goes, I'm just sitting in my chair just a quilting, because she made little quilts, and she would do little crochets and stuff like that. And she would sit in her living room chair because she had like a little table and all that right there for her. And I said, you are? She's like, yeah. You been sitting there the whole time? She's like, yes, son. Well, you have a question? You know, what's going on with you? Well, I just wanted you to know that caller ID's in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I got her. And she paused for a second. And I went, she goes, okay. You answered the phone by my name. You know what I mean? And she's like, I don't think I did. I was like, okay. And I just let it go. And I just carried on to another conversation because that old woman was sharp. And so the next time I come visit, we're gonna address this. You know what I mean? And we did address it of the fact of the next time I was there and visited her, I sat from across the kitchen table from her. And I said, Granny, I need to talk to you. And she goes, no, I know. She knew. Yeah. She goes, I know. I said, I called you. And she goes, I know. I said, and she was always about, let's just let go of the white elephant in the room and get to the meat of what you want to talk about.
As you should.
Just, we ain't even got to talk about all that other crap because it's not important. We know. You know?
Right.
I said, Granny, I've been seeing these things since I was a kid. I know things I shouldn't know. And those sort of things. And she looked me straight in the eyes and goes, you should see a doctor. And avoided it entirely and would not speak to me about it ever again. And you didn't pressure her. You just didn't do it.
Right.
One of the elders of the family, the other aunts and uncles and whatnot, kicked the shit out of you if you messed with her. You know?
Yeah.
So she was enforced, if you will.
Yeah.
And she played that card so bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Whenever it was
But it was
convenient.
kind of one of those her way of going,
Let it go.
we both know.
Yeah.
Let it be.
Let it be.
I'm not going to talk about it. You know what I mean? Just let it be. And that's because she spent the entire last 40 years of her life being very devoted to the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. She did that. So if you had that conversation with her, anything spirit-wise is of the devil.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to go very far with it. But, man, you had to have been in that room looking at her eyes and what was in her eyes.
Yeah.
When I started asking those questions, I knew that she knew, right? And my dad has it too, except for he's let it drive him a little bat guano. It's taken me a long time to figure that out because he's made a lot of bad decisions in his life. So he's haunted by things that are not good.
Okay.
And he's let it. It's hard to explain this without sitting in this pair of pants. I can understand how you can let what this is drive you bonkers because it can.
Yeah.
If you allow it, you've got to either.
Is there like an understanding? Like you can tell him, like, not fucking right now, dude. Like, chill out.
There's an energy way of doing that. I
yeah.
can shut it off. Yeah.
Right.
I can shut. They don't want me to, but I can shut it off. And there's. Boy, we'd have to have a lot of conversations, and it's going to allow you to be a lot less skeptical. Some things I'd have to tell you.
Man, we're
about
here.
how to
I'm
keep
fine.
things out of your house.
I ain't got
and
nowhere
that
to
sort
be,
of
dude.
things. There's a lot of spiritual stuff, a lot of things ancients did that I have tested that work with keeping spirits away from you, right? And I've done a lot of that, and they do stay over it. And a lot of it though, 90 out of 100 that approach me is go fuck yourself and just keep walking. And they do. They generally go fuck themselves and just go on, right?
What else are they going to do?
No. There's a lot of energy-wise of pushing them away from you that they keep on you.
Does that
Intention does
translate?
a lot
But
of
does that
things.
translate with people too? Like if there's someone you don't want to be around, can you like kind of tap into that and just mentally say, go fuck yourself, and they kind of get the hint without saying words?
You can kind of do that sometimes without them knowing you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, we're all the same energy, right? Like, hypothetically.
We are, right. So that's I'm gonna throw something at you that's gonna make your brain go, ugh.
Do it, man.
I'm not built any different than you.
No.
Or him or anything else. So why can't you be like me? What if I have a door that's just been opened somehow?
That's what.
What's
yeah.
to say you can't open it?
I had a question.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how I know that is that me and my wife's been working on a lot of stuff of her really following and trying to read me when things go on, right? And I start getting reads and her trying to understand it. And the more time has went by, the more she's capable of doing it.
Well, I would say, like, me and Matt we're pretty even kill. Like, we have a bullshit meter. Like, with people, you know.
That's psychic. It is.
That's kind of where I was trying to get with. Like,
yeah.
I've talked to people, and I'm just kind of like, come on, man.
Right.
Your truck's broke down the road. Like, what are we doing?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So spirits are that way too, and if you just direct your energy at them, particularly the darker ones like to play games. They do. The ones that have more ill intent spirits wise, they like to play these little weird games, especially doing investigations.
Right.
They can't get over themselves. They do a lot of weird things that are like the same stuff.
Do you think they're, like, conscious, aware that they're dead, and, like, they can get away with shit? Like, they know. So if, like, y'all are showing up with EVPs different ways too, and they'll say weird shit in the microphone to spook you, per se.
Pee pee poo poo.
Because, like, a lot of the things I've witnessed, there's a lot of stuff they're like, we're Legion, 666, like things like that.
And that's probably somebody fucking with you.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because that's what I would do.
What I would do.
I would fucking do
That's
that.
what I would do.
I would do that.
I'm gonna, like, wet willy you the whole time.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, dude, when I die, you know my legs are getting humped? Bro, come on. So, them fucking with you. The reason I say that is we are Legion 666 and all that kind of stuff. I've been in some cases, real demonic issues, real inhuman evil shit. They don't do that.
That's what I would. Yeah,
They
if
don't
they're
do
the
that.
Well,
they're
mean is mean. Like, the people
Right.
that are really trying to be evil are gonna do it something.
Mean
different.
is mean, and that's just being mean, and that's being facetious and whatnot. The real evil stuff wants to hurt you, and it's not funny, and it's not cool.
no.
I've been in 2 cases that way, and I can talk about them if you want to talk
Yeah.
about them. That went sour real fucking fast, dude.
Do you have precautions that you take afterwards? Like,
I didn't before, I do now.
like to keep that shit.
like
from latching onto you.
I've been presented something and it's not cool. So I have to.
Y'all decide whether you want to hear the story or not, but
Do it, man.
I'll give you a little excerpt, and then you decide. I've been in a hallway with a real person, a living, breathing person, right, who was standing in that hallway in front of me with no whites in their eyes, all black, holding a dinner knife. I've been there.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. If you're comfortable with it,
I
of
am.
course.
I
Okay.
am. If y'all are comfortable here,
As long as you tell me that that's not the thing that's in that other room, we're good.
it's not. It's not in another room. Disclaimer. Don't go chase this stuff. Right?
No.
Because it's dangerous.
This
Right.
is probably as far as I want to get with any of this.
Other disclaimer. When you talk about them, they listen.
Okay.
I'm pretty high on the devil's shit list. And here's why. Right?
Yeah.
So
Dude, Travis is lighting up over there.
don't be like.
He's like, oh,
What
here
I'm
we
saying
go.
is that if weird shit happens around you for a few weeks after you hear this conversation, this is why. Right?
Okay.
Because they might fuck with you. Right? When I say they're pretty rare that they're out there, but they're prideful pieces of shit that are spirits that love to tinker with people. They love to do it, but they do it in a way in which you don't know they are because they're a master at it.
Yeah.
And so here comes a story. You want to hear it?
I'm here.
Yes or no?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
here.
And it's your own thing, dude. The case took place of all things. I've been to 4 countries, all of the United States. This case happened in Pittsburgh, Texas.
That's where I'm from.
This case happened in Pittsburgh, Texas. I, to this day, will not tell you their names, right? Because I promised these people I would never do that.
Yeah.
This is one of your personal investigations that you
Yes.
did. Okay.
Was called to this case because another team took it. This is getting very weird. Another team took it, couldn't figure out what was going on there. Called us over because they had some really weird things going on. Investigated. I really thought something dark was amiss.
Yeah.
Right? And I told these people, and they were living their lives all jacked up, right?
Right.
I said, hey, you clean your life up, do a little better. We can do some stuff to help rid you of the ghost here. But if you keep doing the things you were doing, that's why it's here. Right?
Yeah.
Just, you know. I mean, and then cool. We did a cleansing of the house for them. Everything went away. And then these people kept calling us every so often. And then a person that was part of our team got to notice something one time. They're like, hey, I was just checking these messages from these people. They call us, give or take a day, every September 10th. Every year.
Okay.
Well, that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, wow. You
Yeah.
know? And now they lived in Hallsville, and then they lived in Longview, and now they're in Pittsburgh, right? Okay. So we go over there and ask them, what do you end up in Pittsburgh? Well, they have family. Their family's kind of from the Pittsburgh area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. What's been going on? This haunting thing. And they, husband, wife, couple, 3 kids. And it's kind of the same MO stuff. The same haunt that had been happening the last 3 times we investigate them. The last 3 times we had them rid of what they got there. It's happening again. And I was under this notation of they keep re-inviting something back.
Yeah, is it something they're
It's
doing?
the same thing. We just keep running it off, and then they invite it back. And I didn't think nothing about it being serious, right? This is a haunting. It's got something connected to them. They keep doing it. Okay. So, and I have new team members with us that we didn't have before that didn't know anything about nothing. So we decided to take this case because these people were pretty nice to us and like, hey, you mind if we just do an investigation again? They're like, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
So we did the whole thing. We're going to set up the investigation time. I never allow children to be in a house when we're doing a ghost investigation. I won't do it. Right. So
Good man.
Kids need to go be somewhere else. Right.
Set me mouse.
And yeah, so that's what they did. And so we can conduct this investigation. The investigation started off running equipment, all that sort of thing, cameras, full 9, like you see on TV. We did the whole thing, you know. And we kept getting a little here and there off live EVP stuff, live ghost box stuff. And as the more the night went on, the more I had this feeling of something's amiss. I'm missing something. So I sit and get quiet by myself where there's no chatter going on and just kind of use my senses. And I get this overwhelming feeling that I'm missing something and it's serious.
So your ability, you can tap in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm missing something and I need to figure out what it is. So, and I start going down this avenue investigating, and whatever it was, after I did that, started really talking to us on the ghost box. And I'm talking about this fun stuff, like, how many fingers am I holding up? 4. It would answer it immediately.
So just accurate.
Yeah, just real accurate,
Educated.
but fun. And we would get real kind of joking, like we would say heinous shit to the ghost, like, "Hey, are you a cunt?" And he would go, "Yeah." You know, we'd have all kinds of fun stuff. I don't know if you ever done that investigation, just have fun, and ask him crazy shit, and the ghost would answer it. And this one was getting pretty well. He was answering all the time. And then we decided to do this experiment. And I don't know if you've done this in investigations, but take somebody and put a ghost box and put a headphone on them, right? And then isolate them over there somewhere, right? And turn the volume way up on the ghost box.
Real
So they
quick.
can't hear
Where
questions.
Real quick.
Right.
Explain a ghost box to
Yeah.
people that may not know. what it
Okay,
is.
so taking a radio and cutting the antenna where it just constantly cycles, right? White noise, if you will,
Right.
And you cycle it really fast, right? And see if something will manipulate it and you could hear words. So
Got it.
if
Okay.
it's changing a radio station every couple milliseconds, right? To hear a whole sentence would be pretty weird. 'Cause
Right.
it went through about 9 or 10 radio stations. So if you hear a whole sentence in that, you're like, oh, that's weird. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
And we started asking questions. My dude was on the deal. And he started accurately answering our questions.
Man.
So whatever it was, heard our questions, answer it, and then it occurs to me, that's what I'm missing. Whatever this is, this entire fun that we've been having, this is intelligent. Very intelligent.
Like it knows what
Whatever
it's doing. It's
knows
where
exactly what it's doing.
and that makes you nervous.
I'm like, been in some darker places before, had some really dark cases go on, some really powerful, very intelligent spirits do some things to us. Nothing ever extremely heinous at this point. Not over the top yet. And I'm like, that's weird. And then I decided to use a little provocation, a little religious provocation. So let's ask it about Jesus. And that went southbound when I did that. You know, you start asking who Jesus is, it tells you to go fuck yourself. So it went from fun to go fuck yourself, right? My buddy who was with us is training to be a priest. So his fear level went toosh through the roof when that started happening.
Yeah, he's
It's
a
okay, let's
target
all take
now.
a break. Let's
Yeah.
all take a break. You know, cool. We
Do
a
they
break.
take the break with you?
So we tell the people, the two people that were there, hey, y'all hang out. Team's going to go take a break. We're going to go figure out how we want to go from here. So we all go outside so we can have a conversation away from them. Because it's part of our diagnostics, if
Right.
you will. And so we go outside. And I said, man, you guys notice that this thing's been weird. Everybody on the team are like, there's something weird going on. Everybody's got this gut feeling something weird is going on, right? Okay, so I'm not the only one. Turns out everybody in the whole team had this intuition something strange is going on here. And then my priest buddy, he was like, man, you notice when you started religious provocation that it went sour real fast. I'm like, well, we always felt like there was something darker going on here. They kept bringing something dark with them. Maybe that's it, trying to talk to us or whatever. And then as we're having that conversation, trying to figure out what are we going to do here,
Yeah.
right, to help these people, the husband comes out of the house and starts walking our way. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? He goes, hey, Mike, you help me with something? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you come check out my wife? I'm like, what's up with your wife? He goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And he has this legit look of fear in his face. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, cool, let's come in. You know what I mean? So we go over there, open the door. So when we walk in the door, they had their house arranged all kinds of weird. So get ready for this weirdness. This room is like a long rectangle. And there's a dress. So the door, you walk in the door, right? It's a long rectangle. So you're having the long end of the room. The dresser right here to your wall to your right is a dresser. And then there's another one over here with a fish tank on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a... Shit, I can't remember what's on this wall because it's not what was crazy. What was crazy is that there's a bed right here on this left wall. And there's a bed on the end of this wall, and then there's a recliner here. And then this girl is sitting in that recliner, and she's faced at a 45-degree angle away from me as I walk in the room. So I see over her right shoulder.
Yeah,
if you
okay.
will. And she's sitting there with her hands in her lap, and she's just rocking back and forth, staring kind of 45-degree angle at the floor. She'd never been like that. She's a real talkative person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Huh. So, as I open the door, I see her, and I'm like, huh. When you stepped across the threshold of the door, for me, when I stepped across the threshold of the door, it's like, shit.
There's a weight.
Like, way worse than it was before.
Right.
Right? Something has changed.
Yeah.
And as I walked across that room, it kind of felt like kind of dragging yourself through water just a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's this resistance,
Like walking through wet sand.
if you will, but it's
Yeah.
just the whole
Yeah.
damn room. You know what I mean? The whole thing. And so I walk up and I call her by her name. She didn't respond.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down. So I'm sat down now, and she's right here, and I could just reach out and touch her if I wanted to, right?
Yeah.
And I sat down, and I was like, hey, girl, you all right? You know, just kind of coax her into it. No response whatsoever. We'll get into this later, but I have this occasional voice that's only said things to me about 5 or 6 times in my entire life.
Okay.
And every time this voice is ever spoken, it's not a good day. You know what I mean? It's not a good day. It's always a warning of some nature, always. And this voice goes, not her. And I stop for a second.
It's a storm fire.
Just, oh no. And then I look back at her and I go, no fucking way, man. You know what I mean? So, but she's not responding to me. So every bit of the clue is there, right? I just
Yeah.
hadn't cued in on it. You know what I mean? So I sit down and I'm talking to her, and then that voice goes off. Hey, you. And the rocking stopped.
Oh man.
Need to be in the movies now, bro. The rocking stopped. And the human part of you, the normal person you, goes, fuck.
I gotta go.
Because I knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then the next part of you goes, there's no way this can't be real. This is not about to happen. I'm not about to be in a fucking Exorcist movie. I'm really not.
Here we
Just
are.
not- and then the fear sets in, right? And then you have to go, don't be the fearful one. You know what I mean? What are you doing here? No response. and then I leaned toward it, and I got real demanding. I've done this. You're talking about that getting spirits to get away from you. It's about using your energy, right? And for me, I have a faith. I don't use that faith per se because I know it's with me. Right?
Yeah.
So I know I don't need to question. I'm scared as shit, but I don't need to question that I'm protected spiritually because I know it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I hope I know it. At that point, I'm like, I know it. Right?
About to test
But
it
I'm
out.
scared at the same time, and I go, and I lean over and I said, you know you can't stay. And it's her, right? Absolutely her. Her eyes are all fine. She's all her. But she turns and she looks at me like that, dude. And I knew. You look like her, but you know it.
It's not her.
Yeah.
That's not her facial
Yeah.
expressions. That's not that person's personality.
Mhm.
It is not her, right? Turns and looks at me, and I go, what? Right? Just what? And then it winked its eye, and I felt like I was being electrocuted inside me, dude. Just bumbling, just what the fuck? What's going on with me, right? And you had to kind of shake it off. Dude, it was so weird as shaking it off. I literally felt it go out of my fingertips. This is the strangest thing, bro. It's like, what the fuck? And I turned, looked, and looking back away from me, no rocking, like it never happened, right? And I went, you can't stay here by, and I started to say by the name of Christ,
Yeah.
or whatever. And she stood up and screamed and went through that door and went down the hallway in a dead run, and this blood-curdling scream took off down, and then I heard her into another room, and then it sounded like somebody throwing pots and pans in the kitchen all over the place, right? My first impression in here, in my normal mind, was, got to go.
Gotta go. Yeah.
But then the voice goes, follow. Okay.
It's like,
I
you
don't
just
know
pissed
why.
off whatever this thing is, and now you've got to go chase it down.
And I will not ever tell you or ever understand why when that voice said follow and I said okay and did it, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I did it. And I went down that hallway. The whole time I'm going down the hallway, like listening to direction, but at the same very time, I'm going, what in the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the voice goes, stop. And I stop. Okay. Stand your ground. No, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I said in my head.
What the fuck
That's
are you talking
exactly
about?
what I
No.
said in my head. No, what the fuck?
I'd
And he
rather
goes-
not.
And he goes, stand your ground. And I went, okay. And here she come. Turned that corner, eyes completely black. Steak knife about 7 or 8 inches long in her hand. I looked down her hand and I seen it. Now, dude, I've worked in a prison and I've done a lot of self-defense. And when I was a kid, growing up teenager, I was a guy that was fit to fight, dude.
That's
I've
it,
been
yeah.
a lot of little street fights and we go out back to school and all. Never been scared of nobody, right?
Yeah.
About to shit myself. You know
Fuck
what I
yeah,
mean?
dude.
But at the same time, there's that normal human being I've fought before. You're not stabbing me with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thoughts go through your mind of, I'm here doing a ghost investigation. How are we going to explain this to the cops?
She came at me
You know
with
what I
a
mean?
fucking knife.
You know, how am I going to do that? And it comes down, and then that voice again is very firmly in my head, stay in your ground. And this chick walks right up to my face, right in it, cold blood, black eyes staring at me, and it says, "You will leave now." And it is not her voice. I still can't explain the tone of that voice, but it's not hers.
Yeah.
And here's my response: I can't.
Good.
Don't know why I said it, but I said it. I can't.
Good choice of
And it
words.
went, "Oh, you will leave." I was like, I can't, and you know why. And then it stared at me for a second, and it tilted its head, and I was like, here's where I get stabbed. You know what I mean? Because I know when somebody's going to hit you.
Yeah.
When they look at you and go,
Yeah.
they hit you next. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what happens. You know what I mean? And I went, here we go. You know what I mean? And then it ticked back up, and I say it because it's not her.
Right.
And it looked over what would be my right shoulder. And looked over my right shoulder, and eyes got real big, like something scared the hell out of it. Right? I don't know what. Right?
Mhm.
I still don't know what. I think I do, but I don't know for sure what. Right? Looked at my right shoulder, and blood curdling screamed and turned and went back down to that room and turned the corner back to throwing pots and pans and whatnot. Completely dark down there, no light on whatsoever, and it's pitch black down there. And I went throwing pots and pans, and the voice goes, "Now leave." okay, cool. So I turned around and my whole team was at the end of the hallway, and I said, "Hey, we got to go." And they're like, "Sweet!" And they run
Fuck yeah.
out of the house, dude.
It's been waiting on you to say it,
I
Bob.
don't know why I didn't smell shit on my way out, but everybody
yeah.
was scared out of their mind. I didn't even know they were there. I didn't even know the whole team had come back.
And they're
I had
witnessing
no
this whole thing.
idea. All it gets weirder.
Oh, shit.
And, so I go outside, and they're like, "Dude, what the hell is that?" And I was like, "Bro." And then the one person was there was like, "Why are you screaming and hollering at this girl?" I'm like, "Man, dude, did you not?" He's like, "Dude, it felt stupid in that hallway, bro." And they were all back there chanting the Lord's Prayer, right? They knew something was up. There's a few of them that still don't know why they started. And I think I started it, though, the Lord's Prayer thing. I think I did. And so we go outside, and, of course, my priest buddy's like, "We're going to have a exorcist. We're going to have to call church. Yada, yada. We got to go down the path of Roman Catholic shit
Yeah.
now." I'm not going back in there. There's a demon in there. I'm like, yeah, no kidding.
No
right?
shit. Yeah.
There's a possessed person in that house. That's exactly what just took place. And the husband, he's outside with us like, "Dude, what happened to my wife?" We're like, "Bro, we're going to have this conversation with you. That's not your wife." And he's just like, "I kind of figured it."
Yeah.
He was kind of like either in shock, which I would figure that's the case, or just nonchalant about it.
Right.
And then the long story short of that is we decided to go find a priest, find the church, find somebody who's absolutely qualified, because nobody else but me was going back in that place.
Right.
I was fit to fight the damn thing. I don't know why. And but not doing it by myself. Not doing that. That's not smart.
And that was in Camp
And,
County.
That was right at Pittsburgh, right
Yeah.
outside of Pittsburgh. There's a little, I'll tell you this much, there's a little Hispanic Catholic church.
Yep.
That's not very far from that house. And we ended up seeing the Hispanic priest that was there. Young dude, man. Young guy. He was pretty cool, too. He was doing a Spanish service that Sunday, because there's more to this. Turns out, unbeknownst to me, the investigation that night was October 31st. We didn't plan that.
It was Halloween.
We were there Halloween night, didn't even know it.
Sam Hain.
Yep. We were there, and we called that priest at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We got a big old problem. He didn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
And we went and saw him the next day. And I talked to him. He's like, we told him what's up. And he's like, "Oh, did you guys ever calling me like 1, 2, 3 in the morning?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't answer that." I'm like, "Dude, why not? You knew there was
It's 1 in the morning.
He goes, "Well, it's Halloween, and people always call me, 'Oh, we seen the devil on Halloween night,' or prank calls." He said, "I figured if it was important, you'd be here today. So, good to see you." You know what I mean? We're like, great. We told him what's up, and he gave direction of what to do, and what they should do, and we gave them that information. And I have not spoke to that family ever since.
They still live there?
I don't know. I don't know.
You
where
don't
they
know?
are. I don't know where they are.
See, I grew up in Pittsburgh. Then I moved to Gilmer like my high school years.
Mhm.
And that was wild.
That's my Dance with the Devil.
Was
One
the
of them.
Ghost of Bo Pilgrim.
Yeah, there you go. I'm consuming time here, but
No, you're good. This is what
That's
we're
a
here
story.
for.
So I've got
That's
a
one of
couple
my
of
many-
like just I guess technical questions, not so much experience related
Sure.
questions. Because you see this stuff like this on TV a lot, when you watch the ghost hunter shows,
Mhm.
whatever they may be. But like
entertainment television, sir.
yeah, well, the scripted reality.
Correct.
You always hear them talking about, oh, well, we had all this equipment and then all of our batteries went dead.
That's happened to me a bunch.
So
That's a thing?
That's a thing. You think that's them drawing the
Do you think
energy?
Zach Baggins would lie to us?
100%.
Is he getting a paycheck from a network? Yes.
1,000.
Oh,
He's
the
a-
stories that I've heard about him.
I know a lot about him, as a matter of fact.
Do you?
I know people that know him. Right?
He's a piece of shit, huh?
No, not really.
Okay, cool.
Not
This
not
makes
as
you
a
feel
dude.
better.
He's a TV personality.
Yeah.
He's a TV personality. No, he's Danced with the Devil, and I know Roman Catholic exorcists that he has seen
Okay.
because of the things that have happened.
Well, he's had a couple of them on his show to be on
has.
standby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Zach's seen some things, man. He has.
Okay. So that's a fucking wild story.
He's a real thing, just not on that show.
Okay.
That
Follow
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying?
I got
makes
you.
sense.
I got you.
He's a real guy.
What do
There's
you
probably
think
things he
about,
can't put on national TV too.
like
Right,
like
right.
the Jason Hawes, like the Taps guys.
Taps
Yeah,
guys.
those
Like
yeah.
they seem like they're
Isn't it?
as legit as possible.
they're legit ghost hunters.
Yeah.
just not on that program because
Right.
there's a production company involved
That's
in that.
yeah, right.
And so it's not really a reflection on them personally.
Have you ever thought about
They're just collecting a check, man.
So I'm not wanting you to collect a check or like put yourself out there. Have you ever thought about writing or like making a YouTube show of the things you see, or do you think that gives it more power? Kind
If
of thing?
somebody wanted to do it,
You're in it.
I would partake in it. But there is. This might sound weird.
Stipulations.
No, there's not stipulations. I can't do it. I can't personally profit from it. There's something about the other
But you
side
could
that
be
tells me
you
not
could
to
be
do
on
that.
screen doing the thing you need to do. You just can't make money from it. Or do you want to just be in the background?
I wouldn't be the person pursuing it. If my story got told to some people and helped some people and somehow or another I got a little something from it that I didn't ask for, that's a different thing.
You just can't make it a profit.
But I wouldn't pursue it.
Yeah. Okay.
Say.
No, that's
if
fine.
I was asked, hey, would you come do this and you might make a check out of it? Yeah, great, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, my intention is that if I tell my story and it educates somebody, then that fulfills my pursuit and my intention of how I'm designed. If that, I know that makes sense.
It does.
No, it does.
makes complete
Absolutely.
sense.
Yeah.
So I've turned down 2 or 3 television shows. I've done that. I was with a production company. There's still some I can't talk about, or I don't wanna. I could have ended up with a TV show, I think,
Yeah.
and I jacked it up on purpose because there was a weird feeling coming from me internally that
Yeah.
says,
Well, it seems
this
like-
is not what you're supposed
it
to do.
seems
Like
like
you feel
you're-
you're taking advantage of your gifts at that point in time, if you want to call it a gift.
Yeah, like psychics can't win the lottery. There's a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a reason for it. And if you stay true to it, then it matters. If you go deviating and you start being prideful and you start, what gives you this can take it away.
Yeah.
Follow what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
That
And
does
I
make
don't,
sense.
This is so weird because me and my wife's talked about this. There's a lots of time in my life that I don't want this. My wife has said it, but would you miss it if it's gone? And I'm like, it's 30 plus years of my life that would just go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there'd be a big emptiness, right? You know what I mean? So,
You'd just be
that-
like one of us.
which I think would be kind of cool.
It's not.
You know what I mean?
It's not that
no,
cool.
we'll just drink beer and act shitty.
What the hell's wrong with that?
So, and this next question may be kind of answered by the, based on TV stuff, if it's all production related or whatever. But like you said, the story you just told, you made sure the kids weren't there. Well, a lot of the things that I see with the guys on TV, they make sure that there's nobody else in the house but them. I'm like, well, what if whatever you're investigating is attached to a person? If you send that person out of the house, is that a
From a diagnostic standpoint, you have to involve. I don't involve children because it's children, and that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Right. So, but you have to involve the reason why the spirit's there.
It's what I'm saying.
Especially if
So-
you don't know, which is kind of what you just said, really.
Because the guys on TV, like nobody else is ever in the house but them and their team.
But what
Most
if
of
like the
time.
person that lives in the house is the one who invited something?
That's
like-
important.
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
that person's not there, your chances of finding something or experiencing something may be a lot lower.
Right.
Every spirit has an anchor.
Right.
That's the word I use, anchor. There's a reason why
That's
it's
the
there.
that's the poltergeist.
And the only
theory.
way to get rid of that spirit is to unravel the reason, right? And that's the most difficult part, is unraveling the reason, particularly if it's invited there by a person, right? Particularly worse if it's invited there by a person who invited it unknowing they were inviting something.
Yeah.
That part sucks because it'd be really difficult to unravel that.
Does
You
that
know what I mean?
seem like the most common scenario?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say yeah.
Because I don't know a lot of
But
people
that's like 55%.
are going to
yeah.
intentionally.
You know what I mean?
I don't
Like,
know of a
yeah.
lot of the people that are going to intentionally invite something.
People do crappy things and end up with ghosts. You know the most haunted people that I see? Really?
Preachers.
Ghost hunters.
Yeah.
Because they.
Take shit home.
Have you ever
Yeah.
investigated a church?
Yeah.
I used to work at a daycare at a church, and that's the only place I've ever
I've
felt
always felt.
insanely creeped
Yep.
out.
Yeah, I like how people go, well, the devil can't get in church. Yeah, okay.
Okay. I've never.
Sure.
I've never.
Okay.
There's millions of stories of the debauchery that happens in churches, like unholy things.
Yeah.
Well, just put yourself in the devil's shoes for a second. If you're going to corrupt something,
Yeah.
what's the first thing to get?
The preacher.
Yeah. Might as well
God's house.
might as
Fuck
God's
it up.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck it up.
Go big or
You
go
know what I mean?
home.
Go
right?
big or go home.
Yeah.
But like that's the only place that I've ever been in my life that I've ever just felt completely uneasy.
I would.
Because I used to have to lock up at night, like after the daycare closed, and it was in like their gymnasium. It was still attached to their church, but
the weird
it was,
part,
it was always. I was like, I don't like this at all.
the most craziest haunted places seem to be jail/prisons,
Yeah.
hospitals, churches.
Traumatic places.
Man, I hate being almost 40 years old and living in an RV.
I can see where that would be painful.
It's not where I saw my life going. I wish I had more of a solid home. But what I do like about living in the RV is the minimal lifestyle that I'm having to go to.
Yeah, I can understand that. And, we've got a sponsor that might be able to help you out with something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Bob's Containers?
Actually, I have.
Well, they make turnkey container solutions, building both standardized and custom container homes. They also build commercial container solutions such as bars, restrooms, kitchens, pretty much anything you can think of.
And these are these giant, like, Connex containers.
Right. Like you see on rail cars.
Dude, that's incredible.
So they have easy ADUs, which is an accessory dwelling unit.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah. I know what it means, but I don't know what it means. We'll have to look that one up later. They provide in-house financing, which is fantastic of them to do as a company.
Well, yeah, I have no credit. Divorce has killed it.
Yeah. They'll handle all of your permitting.
That's a major deal.
Yeah, wherever you're located, they'll deal with your city or your county and handle all the paperwork.
Wow.
They do completely custom solutions, so pretty much whatever you can think of, they can build it for you.
That's incredible.
Quick and easy nationwide delivery.
That's huge.
So they're in Austin, Texas, and we're also in Texas, so that's not that far away. But you know what? If you live in Massachusetts, give them a shout. They do off-site construction, so there's no noisy construction for months while you prep the land.
Incredible. Like if you had nosy neighbors and you're just someone's grinding away.
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear a jackhammer at 5 a.m. every day.
I know, I don't.
Not at all. And like we said before, they're built in Austin, Texas. So you should check them out at bobscontainers.com or give them a call at 833-265-3269.
It's a no-brainer at Bob's Containers.